Good morning, class. Today we will continue with the excretory system, and as I had told you, we will be discussing the process of urine formation, that is the steps involved in the formation of urine. But before I begin with that, I will revise the structure of the urinary ferrous tubules with you. Now, each kidney contains the structural and the functional units called the urinary ferrous tubules or the nephrons, or we also call them kidney tubules. Each kidney contains 1 million uriniferous tubules, and the total number of nephrons in both the kidneys is 2 million. The entire blood is filtered in the urinary ferrous tubules, and finally after filtration of blood, what is produced is urine, which is not needed by the body, contains water with dissolved nitrogenous waste and is eliminated from the body. The kidneys produce urine which pass through the ureters, is stored for a short duration in the urinary bladder, the membranous, the muscular pear-shaped bag-like structure located in the pelvic region, and when the bladder is full, a message goes to the brain and urine is removed, voided. We say voiding of urine, which is called urination or micturition, takes place. Now, coming back to the urinary ferrous tubules, each urinary ferrous tubule is divided into two regions: the Malpighian capsule, which consists of the glomerulus, and the Bowman's capsule. Now, renal artery supplies blood to the kidney. Renal artery breaks up into several arterioles. The arteriole that enters into the Bowman's capsule to form a capillary network called the glomerulus is the afferent arteriole. Afferent arteriole A. This is going to form this glomerulus. This is Bowman's capsule, the cup-shaped Bowman's capsule, and the invagination of this Bowman's capsule holds the glomerulus. Together we call this as Malpighian capsule or Malpighian corpuscle. Now, glomerulus is formed, and the afferent arteriole, after forming the glomerulus, leaves the Bowman's capsule as the efferent arteriole. An efferent arteriole is narrower than the afferent arteriole, and this difference in the diameter of the two arterioles creates a high pressure called hydrostatic pressure, because of which blood is filtered into this lumen of the Bowman's capsule. Now, this efferent arteriole forms a network over the nephric tubule, that is the DCT region, the PCT region, proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle. This is loop of Henle. This is PCT region, proximal convoluted tubule. This is DCT, distal convoluted tubule. This is the collecting duct. Collecting duct collects the glomerular filtrate from various urinary ferrous tubules, and finally this joins the ureter, and through the ureter urine is sent to the urinary bladder, from where it is removed from time to time. What we call as micturition, removal of urine is called micturition or urination. Now, urine is formed after filtration of blood. So, this network which is formed by the efferent arteriole on the nephric tubule is called peritubular network, or we also call it vasa recta. So this is the basic structure of a nephron. Now urine formation takes place in three main steps. First step is called ultrafiltration. Second step is called reabsorption, or we also call it selective reabsorption. And the third step is tubular secretion. These are the three main steps in which urine formation takes place. The process of urine formation takes place after filtration of blood. So, ultrafiltration is the filtering of blood from the glomerulus into the lumen of the Bowman's capsule under high pressure due to the difference in diameters of afferent and efferent arteriole. Now you know the capillaries are formed up of a single layer of cells, we call them endothelium. Same way, the Bowman's capsule is lined with a single layer of squamous epithelium, and these are in close contact with each other. So filtration of blood takes place from the capillary, epithelium lining the capillary, through the epithelium lining the Bowman's capsule into the lumen of the Bowman's capsule. This is now called glomerular filtrate. What enters from the glomerulus into the nephric tubule is called glomerular filtrate, or it is also called nephric filtrate, because this portion of the tubule is nephric tubule. PCT, loop of Henle, DCT is the nephric tubule, whereas this is the Malpighian capsule or the Malpighian corpuscle. So the first step is ultrafiltration. That is clear? Now we come to the second step. In ultrafiltration, most of the water, glucose, amino acids, certain proteins, colloids, inorganic salts of sodium, potassium, calcium are all filtered, and they come in the glomerular filtrate. So the glomerular filtrate is not what is not needed by the body. There are a lot of useful substances that the body still needs. So these useful substances will be taken back, will be reabsorbed, and since the useful substances are selectively reabsorbed, it is called selective reabsorption. So first, in the PCT region, most of the water, all amino acids, all glucose, some inorganic salts of sodium, potassium and calcium will be reabsorbed in the PCT or the proximal convoluted tubule. Then in the loop of Henle, some more water and sodium ions will be reabsorbed. Then finally coming to the DCT region, some water and chloride ions will be reabsorbed. So this is the second step, selective reabsorption from the glomerular filtrate in the three regions of the nephric tubule. The third step is tubular secretion. Secretion from the blood into the tubule. So some substances which could not be removed by filtration but are not needed by the body, like creatinine, hippuric acid, some potassium ions, and antibiotics like penicillin and other antibiotics which are not required by the body will be secreted into the tubule, and that is called tubular secretion. Finally, what then goes into the collecting duct, from where it collecting ducts, several collecting ducts unite to form the ureter in the pelvic region of the kidney. Told you, outer cortex, inner medulla, the pelvic region where the ureter forms a funnel-shaped renal pelvis. So these collecting ducts come to the pelvic region and empty out their secretion, which passes through the ureter, stored in the urinary bladder and removed from the urinary bladder through the urethra, which is called micturition or urination. From urinary bladder, it goes to the urethra. So this is clear. Now, I will have to erase this to explain the 3 steps. Now, in ultrafiltration, the first step of urine formation, as mentioned here, is ultrafiltration. In ultrafiltration, blood is filtered under high pressure and approximately 125 ml of blood is filtered per minute. Each minute 125 ml of blood is filtered, or we can say 180 liters per day in a duration of 24 hours. But all this is not unwanted. Most of it is reabsorbed, and finally the output of urine that is produced is 1 to 1.5 liters in a day. The rest of it is reabsorbed along with the useful substances like glucose, amino acids. That is in the second step, reabsorption. Third step, as I told you, most of the water, all glucose, amino acids, inorganic salts of sodium, potassium, calcium, these are reabsorbed. And third step, that is tubular secretion. Here substances like creatinine, hippuric acid, potassium ions, and antibiotics like penicillin and other antibiotics are secreted into the lumen of the DCT region. Tubular secretion occurs in the distal convoluted tubule region of the nephric tubule or of the urinary ferrous tubule. Whereas reabsorption takes place in PCT region, in loop of Henle, and even in DCT. And ultrafiltration takes place from the glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule. And total urine output is only 1 to 1.5 liters per day. So these are 3 very important steps for the mechanism of urine formation. Thank you.